Should wearing dresses and skirts be illegal for men in public? If so, should wearing pants for women be illegal in public? Well, pants not so much, because there is a female version of pants that is nearly indistinguishable in many cases from male pants. But men wearing traditional female clothing in public, I think that there's a case that local communities should be able to stop that. Sure, I mean, we have local laws about being naked or indecent exposure, or at least we used to.
So I'm wondering how this works. Like, so many transgender people pass and you can't actually tell. So are the police going to stop people on the street, scan them for their chromosomes, and then arrest them if they're wearing the wrong clothing that the government doesn't approve of? Like, in what universe can you support limited government and then fix your mouth to say stuff like this?
You fundamentally can't. This is just an absolutely ridiculous statement at this point. I don't get Ben Shapiro. I think he's smarter than this. I'm kind of disappointed to see him playing the lowest common denominator in his base just to rile people up over transgender issues. Men have worn dresses for as long as women have throughout history. That is in many cultures continues to be the dominant dress style. There's nothing inherently feminine about a dress. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the idea that you need to police the kind of clothing that people wear in general is just very creepy and autocratic, and I just think you need bigger problems in your life if this is something you're concerned about. You should not be bothered by a man wearing a dress, just like you should not be bothered by women wearing pants. If that is something that bothers you, you need to really evaluate your life and maybe go touch grass and find somewhere to volunteer.
But also, even if you are bothered by it, you are entitled to your own opinion. But there's a universe between I don't think men should wear dresses, and I want a police state making that illegal. There's a big difference there.
I agree with you, but I also think I've read something actual data that shows people who are libertarians have a lower gross factor. They're not as bothered by things around them as compared to progressives, and conservatives are the worst of all. And I think you see this play out over and over, and it's where those sort of urgings start, right? You become a Karen if you're on the left, you become this if you're on the right, where you're just a little too bothered by what other people are doing when it does not impact you. And I think if you don't want to get to this creepy, big government, oppressive society, you need to start to recognize it's actually a you problem. You shouldn't be that concerned with what other people are doing in their lives. If it's not actually harming you or your property, get all the way over it and keep it moving, and just focus on your own life and making it better, and focus on investing in your kids, or find a more meaningful hobby. I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do before you end up like this, or before you end up calling the manager over things. I do think it's a self problem. It ends up playing out when people want to then take it a step further and regulate it. But it actually does begin with your own, nosiness, busybodiness, being too concerned with what other people do.
Yeah, and I'll say this, a government big enough to police your wardrobe is big enough to tell you can't wear a yarmulke in public in areas where that's not supported by the majority. And I guess you could say that's a religion thing, but you could say that wearing certain clothes is a free speech thing. So I think this is a terrible idea. It's incredibly short-sighted. I don't know how they can, the Daily Wire folks can seemingly understand the limits of government on many issues. And then on this one, they're just all of a sudden their inner communist freak flag just comes out and flies.
Hold on. Where do they see the benefits of limited government over there these days? Because I haven't seen it in a minute.
I mean, look, I've listened to Ben Shapiro for years, and he makes incredibly compelling cases against big government spending, against regulation, on many issues, really. I mean, throughout the Trump administration, he would push back on emergency declarations. On the Biden administration, they literally sued to block the federal government's vaccine mandate. I mean, they do on a number of issues, but they have this cognitive dissonance on some of these issues with the people they really don't like. And it's look, you're entitled to your own opinion. I don't share it. But if you don't support freedom for the people you don't like, you don't actually support it, because that's the hard part, right? It's easy to support it for your friends. And I also just say, you always get people when you respond to something that Shapiro or Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles says, you always get people in the replies that are trying to distort their position or defend their position. They're saying, well, he's just talking about local communities that are saying oh, well, in our church, you can't wear this, or at my house, you can't wear this. And no, he very clearly cited laws. And the question was, should it be illegal? And he answered in the affirmative. And then he cites other laws. He's not talking about civil society. He's talking about the government and the state. And they always try to squirm away. They do this Mott and Bailey thing where you call them out for their position and they try to retreat to a less controversial position and act like that's what they're actually having to defend. No, we can see what you said. We're not taking you out of context. I don't do that to people. I always try to confirm that I'm not misunderstanding their position. And what your position is here is antithetical to civil liberties or limited government or any of these things that you say you support. And I just think it's totally nuts and just low level pandering to the lowest level common denominator.